Hello YarnTubers, welcome back to Wanderlust Crochet with Dana and Benji, and today I am going to do a little review on a beginner's kit that I bought and update you on what I have and have not been working on. So, you guys haven't really seen me since I went to flock. And the truth is, up until this morning, I haven't crocheted a thing since I left flock. And for various reasons, I'll give you a little insight into that. But I knew that I wasn't having a great time in the weeks, the 3 weeks after flock. So I told them to send me home for 2 days. And before I went, I knew that I needed to do something creative. So I thought, well, I like Woobles, and I almost bought some Woobles to do, because I gotta tell you, first of all, let's talk about Woobles. I wasn't originally a pro Wooble person. I was an anti-Wooble. Why? Because as an instructor, I think I had a little pride and jealousy kind of going on, because what they have done is really fantastic. And price, I'm sorry, I'm going to charge that. I'm going to charge an hourly rate for a beginner, and I'm going to charge for the fact that I am supplying all the supplies, the yarn, the hook, the needles, the scissors, stitch markers, everything a student needs, I would supply them. And the price of a beginner level Wooble is right in line with what my instructor's price list is. So, and after we did the Woobles on the ship, I gotta be honest, I really enjoyed my Wooble. I wish I had it here. I did Joe the coffee cup. I'll insert a picture of Joe the coffee cup right here. And I really enjoyed doing that. So I was thinking, since I needed to get, what do we call it? The Crojo, get the Crojo back. I was going to order a Wooble. But then I needed something that would be there within like 24 hours. So I went to Amazon and I picked up this L.O.L. Crochet, labeled as a beginner kit of these Highland cows. And theoretically, there is enough. Okay, here's all the stuffing. There is, one of their pamphlets. This is the instructions, plus a video for doing the Highland cow. There's, everything you need. They even put keychain type things in there so that you could do a keychain. And it comes with these are cute little skeins of yarn. I mean, they're just adorable, right? So I was able to complete the head. Now, let's be clear. I've been crocheting for a minute. I am absolutely, at the minimum, a level 3 intermediate crocheter. There are some level 4 projects I can handle without a problem. Not all level 4, but there are some. And I found the instructions to be not so clear on the eye placement. I wasn't real sure which way, which orientation this head was going to be, but I finally figured it out. Took a little while. And then so here's the hook. It's not a bad hook. It's not my favorite hook, but this is not a bad hook. I have no problem with this. And this is it's getting hot in here, 2.5 millimeter hook. And the next thing I worked on was the hair. So stinking cute, you guys. This is cute. But what are you thinking now? For a beginner? Heck no. I would not do this to a beginner. The next thing I'm working on is the horns. And yes, I have tried twice and ripped them out twice. And then I put it away, because that is definitely not something I wouldn't do that to my beginner. However, if I was lacking in supplies, yarn, and my beginner gift bags that I give to my beginner crocheters, I have them set up back in Oregon City. If I didn't have that, I would order a beginner level Wooble. And I say beginner level because they have beginner plus, and they have intermediate. So I would I would use those and basically just sit there and let them read the instructions, let them go through the videos provided. And I believe if the crocheter, even a young one, if they're mature enough to be able to concentrate for an hour or so, they would learn how to crochet using a Wooble. Easy. I truly believe that. Now, this also has written instructions and a video. The video I've had to slow down. As a solid level 3 crocheter, I've had to slow down and rewind several times in certain areas. And the voice on the video is AI. So things are not lining up. Things aren't making sense because of the instructional voice on the video. I would never do this to a beginner. I wouldn't do this to a level 2 crocheter. And I would giggle and send it to a level 3 and say, go for it, show me how. And let's be clear, another level 3 may have a different insight and a different level of understanding, and may not struggle with the areas that I struggled, but I believe there are other areas a level 3 would struggle with this. The yarn is not great. It's a little splitty, especially for that small of a hook. The yarn with a wooble is fabulous for a beginner. Yeah, I prefer woobles to this. I may at some point pick this up again and try to get the horns done. They are going to take a level of patience to complete. So there's that. Now, what have I been working on? So I finally, right before I went home, realized I needed to do something creative. And I am working on this Mill Hill kit. This is the kit that I bought when I was in Emmett, Idaho with Robin, roaming with Rover. And I have since purchased a few little accessories. I got these acrylic bobbins off of Amazon. I'll link those down below. That's a nice little set. And I got some things out of a kit that my friend Tammy sent me a couple years ago. And there's floss wax, there's several things, these little snips. And also when I was at Flock, I bought this needle minder, this magnetic needle minder. So this is the progress I have made on this kit. I finished this, I did this and this yesterday while I was sitting here. Did I say I'm in Rapid City, South Dakota? That's where I'm at. And so I've done all this kind of holly and berry outline, and that's where I'm at with that. And this has been something to kind of get me out of my creative funk that I've been in. So, because I did try to work on that Highland cow when I first came back out from, I guess I have crocheted since Flock, but I've worked on that, but yeah, I think I worked on it at home. Okay, so I've been working on that, and I've been looking at this pumpkin patch sampler that Robin bought me, this leaflet. This is something I really want to do, but this is, for those of you, hashtag floss tube, that's what I'm trying to say. This is a much more advanced project. This is done on a 32 count linen, and I'm not going to explain terms because this is not a floss tube channel, but for those of you who know, this is on a 32 count linen done with all silk floss. So I do have a plan. I'm going to finish this Mill Hill kit. I have ordered a second one, this pumpkin truck, farm truck that I love so much. And then I have also ordered something called Emily's Hope. This kit actually comes with 32 count linen, but I am going to have a piece of 28 count even weave cut and serged around the edges for that project. That just means that my project's going to be bigger than the original. The reason is because, oh, did I say 32 on this? This is done on a 28 count linen. I am going to do it on a 28 count even weave, which is supposed to be a little easier. So anyway, that's all the cross stitch stuff. Now, while I was at Flock, I started working on the Barn Quilt Sampler Afghan that I have been talking about for a while. Now, this is done in squares of they're Grafghan squares. Now, I have done several regular corner to corner blankets. I've done mini corner to corner dishcloths. I've done all those things. This is a mini corner to corner Grafghan. Mini meaning instead of using chain 3 and 3 double crochet, you chain 2 and do 2 half double crochets, for those of you who understand corner to corner. And by the way, I'm going to mention that Jayda and Stitches, who I never watch, but she years ago did a tutorial on corner to corner, and it is still the best one out there. So if you want to learn corner to corner, Jayda and Stitches has got you hooked up for that, and I'll link that down below. So anyway, I am working on my friend Diane's free download of all these different, what she's calling barn quilt charts. And I printed out this one, and I am starting to do that. I had started at Flock to do that. Now, for those of you who have done corner to corner graph gans, I tried using bobbins. I tried a couple of methods, but my friend Celia does this chain method. And because I'm not using, I'm not working on it right now, I need to take this end of the chain and hook it into the other end loop of this chain so that I can keep my chains from coming out. But using these chains was a method that has worked very well for me in doing a graph gan. Like I said, I'm not a graph gan person, but I am learning. And I really like some of the tips and techniques that I have learned by watching a ton of graph gan videos. And I've come up with a way that I think the edges of the color changes are looking pretty dang good. So there's that. Now, I was trying to figure out before I went to Flock how I was going to get a hold of some Stylecraft Special DK, because I had figured out that that's the yarn I want to use, because I tried doing it in a worsted weight with an H hook. Those were massive squares. I don't want my squares to be that big. I want them to be a little bit more delicate, just a little smaller. So I decided on Stylecraft Special DK, and I was trying to figure out where I could get at least a handful of some different colors quickly, so that I could at least start testing this out. And I found a whole bag of Stylecraft Special DK. Oh, by the way, I'm using a 4mm hook. So I have all this Stylecraft Special DK. Why? Everybody say hello to Lizzie. Everybody remember the Lizzie blanket? Which I would like. This is on my scorched earth list to finish, but I am more interested in doing the barn quilt sampler afghan at this point, and then later on come back to Lizzie. Stylecraft Special DK is fairly consistent in their colors, so I'm not worried about dye lots and that kind of thing. So I believe I'm going to break this out again here pretty quick and get back to working on this. The other thing, this morning I felt like I wanted to do something. I didn't want to cross stitch, but I wanted to do something kind of little like that. So I brought out my Pennies blanket that I have been working on. Now there's a big plastic bag right there that is full of all of this Stylecraft bamboo and cotton yarn. But what I do is, when I decide to make a penny, which I hope there's the blanket itself is in here. When I decide to make a penny, which are just little round squares, I'll link the blog post that this is coming from, what am I trying to say? Blah, 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 blah. So anyway, I threw all the balls of Stylecraft Special DK in that bag, and then I randomly pick one out, do a penny, connect it to the existing work, and then after I have, and then I put that ball in this bag, and then when I get through all of those, I throw all these back in there and start over. So hang on a second, I'll grab my work. So I haven't done this for several months, but the whole idea on this was basically to have something small to do when I sit up in the morning. I pour my coffee, I turn on Bible Gateway and let it run and read scripture to me while I do at least one penny. And a penny is a round of 12 double crochet. And then, so this is all the farther I've gotten on this. This is going to be a several year project. I'm going to make it big enough to put on my bed at home. And yeah, the colors go randomly. I am using a 3.5mm hook and a chenille needle, an embroidery needle to do the weaving in, and I weave in each one. And I will do a magic ring and then do 6, slip stitch it from the back side of the previous penny, and then I'll do 6 more. And then when I come along the next time, I am slip stitching in between the 6th stitch back from the previous join. And yeah, so it's just something for me to do to get my mind right in the morning. I'm doing something creative. I got some dopamine going. I'm feeling this wonderful yarn, and I'm listening to scripture. So that got worked on this morning. Now, let me talk to you a little bit about what's going on and what's not going on here. I am not feeling good, and my health isn't great. I am not, and I haven't finished putting together a team You know, I've got a couple of team members for the 2026 Crochet Summit that I was going to have in Portland. I am going to cancel that for 2026 and deal with my health, make sure I can continue working, because this driving truck is my bread and butter. So I'm concentrating on that right now. And I've been, let's just say I've been a little depressed. I'm not suicidal or anything like that. Don't worry about that. But not been my happy, bubbly self and feeling creative and all that kind of stuff. And that is why I felt like doing a beginner kit to kind of get my creative juices flowing again. And why when I stop and I just want something quick to work on, I would work on the cross stitch, because that helps me. That gets the dopamine flowing. That has really helped. I am kind of, spending 2 days at home made a big difference. And the more days I'm out now, I'm feeling creative again. And I'm not gonna say, I'm back to 100%, but also, this level of depression is not devastating. I'm good. I really am good. Lots of prayer, lots of scripture, all of that is always a balm that soothes. Okay. That will always be my go-to to get through these times, because I'm never alone. I may be a solo driver, but I am never alone. Of course, there's always Benji too. So anyway, that is all that has been going on here. I'm waiting to hear what's going on with my load, and I think I'm going to be leaving here pretty quick. So I'm so happy that you guys are still here, patiently waiting for me to get on with it, get on with the videos. And thanks, a big shout out to Carson, my social media manager. He has been fabulous, and he completely takes up the slack when I'm lacking in uploads. So that's where we're at. That's what we're doing. Okay, I love you guys. Bye.